At 79, Goldie Hawn has just admitted something surprising about a child she secretly put up for adoption years ago. Why did she keep this part of her life hidden for so long? Join us as we explore the untold story behind Goldie Hawn's secret adoption. Early life and Hollywood breakthrough. Goldie Hawn was born on November 21, 1945 in Washington, D.C. Her full name is Goldie Jean Hawn. She grew up in a middle-class Jewish family in the suburbs of Tacoma Park, Maryland. Her father, Edward Rutledge Hawn, was a band musician who played in major Washington events, and her mother, Laura Steinhoff, ran a dance school and jewelry shop. Goldie was surrounded by music and performance from a young age, which helped shape her interests early on. Goldie began taking ballet and tap lessons when she was just 3 years old. By the time she was 10, she was already dancing on stage with the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, a touring ballet company. She was talented and focused, and dancing quickly became her main passion. Her parents were supportive and encouraged her to follow her creative interests. Unlike many kids, Goldie already had a clear dream of what she wanted to do when she grew up. She wanted to be a dancer. After graduating from high school, she studied drama at American University, but left before finishing her degree. Instead, she turned her attention fully to dance. In her early 20s, she worked as a ballet teacher and danced professionally in productions around Washington and New York. During this time, she also began to develop an interest in acting, mostly through small local theater productions and TV commercials. What started as a side interest eventually opened new doors. In 1964, Goldie moved to California. Her plan was to continue dancing, but the entertainment world had other ideas. With her sunny personality, wide smile, and unique laugh, she stood out during auditions. She got a job as a go-go dancer and started appearing in minor TV roles. Her big break came in 1968 when she was cast in the sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. The show became a huge hit, and so did Goldie. Goldie's role on Laugh-In made her a household name almost overnight. Audiences loved her, and so did producers. In 1969, she made the jump to film with the movie Cactus Flower, co-starring with Walter Matthau and Ingrid Bergman. Goldie played Toni Simmons, a young woman caught in a romantic tangle. Her performance was both funny and emotional, showing a depth that surprised critics who had only seen her on television. Cactus Flower was a box office success, and Goldie's performance earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. At just 24 years old, she was one of the youngest actresses to win an Oscar at the time. Winning that award changed everything. She was no longer just a funny TV star. She was now seen as a serious actress with real talent. This opened the door to a wide variety of roles in the years that followed. After her Oscar win, Goldie quickly became one of the most sought-after actresses in Hollywood. Unlike many stars who get typecast, she managed to build a career that mixed comedy with drama, always playing strong yet relatable women. But even as her acting career took off, Goldie never completely let go of her dance roots or the love she had for performing in general. Her stage presence, physical expressiveness, and timing in comedic roles all showed the dancer in her had never really left. A very young love. In the late 1960s, Goldie Hawn was young, full of energy, and just beginning her climb to fame. Around this same time, she met a man named Gus Triconis. He was a dancer and actor who had started moving into directing. Their relationship happened fast, one of those whirlwind romances where two people seem to fall in love overnight. They met through their work in the entertainment industry, and their shared background in dance helped them connect quickly. Goldie was drawn to Gus's creative spirit, and he seemed to understand her artistic side in a way that felt special. In 1969, Goldie and Gus got married. At the time, Goldie was just 23 years old. Her fame was starting to grow thanks to her role on the popular TV show Laugh-In. But she was not yet the major Hollywood star she would become just a few months later. Gus had been a featured dancer in movies like West Side Story and was transitioning into directing smaller projects. In many ways, They were both still finding their paths, and they seemed to be growing together. Their marriage was simple and low-key. There weren't big public announcements or flashy Hollywood weddings. They were more private and focused on each other. They lived in Los Angeles and tried to keep their lives as normal as possible, even though they were surrounded by the buzz of show business. However, things began to change quickly. After Goldie's big screen debut in Cactus Flower, her career skyrocketed. She won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 1970 and became one of the most talked about new stars in Hollywood. Offers for film roles poured in. She was traveling, filming, and constantly in the public eye. Her life became very different in a short amount of time. Meanwhile, Gus's career was not moving forward at the same pace. He had talent and experience, but he didn't have the same opportunities or recognition that Goldie was getting. While Goldie was becoming a household name, Gus was struggling to get his directing projects noticed. The gap between their careers started to create tension. As Goldie's schedule filled up and her fame grew, the couple began to drift apart. Their relationship quietly began to unravel. It wasn't a big dramatic breakup. There were no public fights or scandalous headlines at first. Instead, it was a slow separation caused by growing differences in their personal and professional lives. Goldie was changing. She was stepping into the spotlight, becoming more independent and more involved in her career. Gus, on the other hand, was staying in the background, and that shift made it hard for them to stay connected the way they once were. In 1973, after 4 years of marriage, Goldie and Gus legally separated. They were no longer living together as a couple, but they didn't rush into a divorce. This delayed divorce is often seen as a sign that there were still emotional ties between them. Maybe they weren't ready to completely let go, or maybe the timing just didn't feel right. Whatever the reason, they remained legally married for 3 more years, even though they were no longer together. Finally, in 1976, Goldie filed for divorce, and it was officially finalized. By that time, she had already moved on in her personal life and was dating others, including musician Bill Hudson, who would later become her second husband. The end of her marriage to Gus Triconis marked the end of her first chapter as a wife and partner. It was also a turning point in her life when she was beginning to realize how much her personal choices would be affected by her rising fame. Looking back, Goldie has never spoken badly about Gus. There's no record of angry interviews or public complaints. Their relationship seems to be one of those youthful loves that simply didn't survive the pressures of fame and change. It wasn't about betrayal or scandal. It was more about two people growing in different directions. Even though it ended, Goldie's first marriage taught her a lot about love, independence, and the importance of being true to herself. It also set the stage for her future relationships, which would be just as complicated, passionate, and full of lessons. Romantic freedom in the 1970s. After her separation from Gus Triconis in 1973, Goldie Hawn entered a new chapter in her life. Her career was booming. She was finally free from the responsibilities of marriage, and she was ready to fully enjoy her independence. The 1970s was a decade known for change and freedom, especially in Hollywood. Goldie, with her carefree spirit and open heart, fit right into this new era. She embraced the lifestyle that was becoming popular at the time: bohemian fashion, spiritual searching, and the idea that women didn't need to follow traditional rules about love, sex, or relationships. Goldie's style during this period reflected who she was. She often wore flowy dresses, bell-bottoms, beads, and natural makeup. People described her as glowing, fun, and totally original. She was spiritual too. She explored meditation, Eastern philosophies, and personal growth. She read about Buddhism, practiced mindfulness, and often talked about finding peace and joy in everyday life. Her interest in spiritual balance gave her a different kind of confidence, and it showed. After her split from Gus, Goldie didn't rush into another serious relationship. Instead, she enjoyed her freedom. She was seen at parties, award shows, and private events with different men, some of them famous, others from behind the scenes in Hollywood. Goldie never hid who she was spending time with, but she didn't confirm every rumor either. This added a layer of mystery to her image that the public and media couldn't get enough of. One name that often comes up during this time is Ted Grossman, a Hollywood stuntman. Goldie and Ted were linked briefly, and although their time together didn't last long, it was one of the few confirmed flings she had during her wild phase. Ted was rugged, exciting, and part of the adventurous Hollywood crowd. The two were seen together at social events, and while it was never a deep or lasting romance, it was enough to keep her name in the headlines. Another man tied to Goldie during this time was Tom Selleck, the actor who would later become famous for playing Magnum P.I. Their relationship, however, was never confirmed. It was more of a rumor that came from them being spotted together. People close to Goldie said there was definitely chemistry, but there's no clear record of how serious it ever became. Whether they were friends or something more, Goldie and Tom's connection added to the growing list of leading men linked to her name. Then there was Warren Beatty, one of Hollywood's most well-known heartthrobs at the time. Warren had a reputation for dating some of the most beautiful women in the world, and Goldie was no exception. They were briefly connected in the media, but like many of Goldie's rumored flings, the relationship was short-lived. Some reports say they had a brief romance, while others say they just flirted and moved on. Still, even the idea of Goldie and Warren together was enough to spark headlines. Ryan O'Neal is another interesting name in Goldie's romantic history. They were known to be close friends and were seen together often throughout the 1970s. Some say they were just part of the same social circle, while others believe there may have been a romantic connection at some point. They had strong chemistry and clearly enjoyed each other's company, but whatever happened between them stayed mostly private. Goldie never publicly confirmed a romantic relationship with Ryan, but their bond added to her image as Hollywood's free-spirited darling. With her rising fame, natural charm, and ever-changing personal life, Goldie quickly became what the media called an it girl. She was beautiful, talented, single, and completely in control of her own life. Magazines loved her. Photographers followed her. Fans wanted to be her or be with her. But through it all, Goldie never let the pressure change who she was. She kept smiling, kept laughing, and kept living her life on her own terms. This wild, free-spirited phase helped define Goldie's public image. She wasn't just another actress. She was someone who believed in love but didn't think it had to come in one shape. She believed in following your heart, even if it meant going against the norm. The Bill Hudson years. By the mid-1970s, Goldie Hawn had become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. She was independent, successful, and enjoying life on her own terms. But in 1975, everything shifted when she met Bill Hudson, a musician and member of the pop group the Hudson Brothers. Bill was handsome, charming, and full of energy. He had a quick wit and a smooth voice that caught Goldie's attention. The Hudson Brothers had a popular TV variety show at the time, and Bill was enjoying his own level of fame. Goldie and Bill's relationship moved quickly. There was strong chemistry from the start, and it wasn't long before they became a couple. In 1976, just 1 year after meeting, they got married. At first, everything looked perfect. They were young and attractive, and both were stars in their own worlds. To the outside world, it seemed like Goldie had finally found lasting love after her short first marriage. Later that same year, the couple welcomed their first child, Oliver Hudson, born in September 1976. Goldie stepped into motherhood with love and care, even as she continued to take on major film roles. Then, in 1979, she gave birth to their second child, Kate Hudson. Both children would grow up to be actors themselves, but at the time, Goldie was trying to balance being a mother with the demands of a fast-moving career. While it may have looked like a happy family from the outside, things behind the scenes were not as stable. As Goldie's film career kept growing, Bill's career began to slow down. The Hudson brothers had started to fade from the spotlight. The balance of power in their relationship shifted. Goldie was making headlines, winning roles, and receiving praise for her talent. Bill, on the other hand, was no longer in the same spotlight. This created tension between them. There were also rumors of infidelity, mostly on Bill's side. Some reports said he had been unfaithful during the marriage, though he denied many of these claims. At the same time, There were whispers that Goldie may have grown emotionally distant, putting more focus on her career than on her relationship. Whether it was the pressures of fame, personal differences, or broken trust, the marriage started to fall apart. By 1980, their relationship was in serious trouble. They tried to make things work, especially for the sake of their children, but it became clear that they were no longer happy together. In 1982, Goldie and Bill officially divorced. The split was not smooth or private. It became a public battle, with both sides speaking out in interviews and the press picking up every detail. There was bitterness, especially around custody and parenting. After the divorce, Goldie had full custody of Oliver and Kate. She raised them mostly on her own, with help from her future partner, Kurt Russell. Bill remained in their lives at first, but the relationship between him and the children slowly broke down. Over time, Oliver and Kate became estranged from their father. They rarely spoke about him publicly during their early careers, and when they did, it was often in a distant or painful tone. Years later, the divide became even more obvious. In 2015, on Father's Day, Oliver posted a message on Instagram that said, "Happy Abandonment Day," directed at Bill. It went viral. Bill responded by saying he felt rejected and claimed that Goldie had pushed him out of the kids' lives. He even stated in an interview that he considered Oliver and Kate dead to him. It was a deeply sad and public confirmation of how broken the family relationship had become. Despite the painful end, Goldie has rarely spoken negatively about Bill in public. She has focused on moving forward, raising her children, and supporting their careers. Both Oliver and Kate have spoken with love and pride about their mother, often calling her their role model. In their eyes, Goldie was both a parent and a guiding force in their lives. The marriage to Bill Hudson started with love and hope, but it ended in heartbreak and division. It was a difficult time for Goldie, but it also shaped her views on love, commitment, and family. Affairs, scandals, and tabloid moments. Throughout her decades in the spotlight, Goldie Hawn has been known not just for her acting and charm, but also for her free-spirited attitude toward life and love. While she has always avoided being tied down by tradition, her openness, independence, and personal choices often made her a favorite topic for tabloids, especially in the 1970s and early 1980s. From rumored affairs to wild party stories, Goldie became a symbol of both freedom and controversy during a time when Hollywood was changing fast. One of the earliest serious romances after her first marriage ended was with Bruno Winchell, a Swedish opera singer and entertainer. Goldie met Bruno in the early 1970s, and for a while, their relationship was fairly serious. Bruno was handsome, cultured, and a star in his own country. The two spent time in Europe together, and Goldie even lived with him in Sweden for a short period. It was a quieter relationship compared to her more public love stories, but it showed that Goldie wasn't afraid to look beyond Hollywood for connection. Their romance didn't last long, but it was part of her search for a deeper, more spiritual kind of love during a period when she was also exploring personal growth and meditation. As Goldie's acting career continued to rise, so did the rumors about her love life. She was linked to several of her co-stars, with whispers of flings that started on movie sets and continued off-camera. While she never publicly confirmed these relationships, the press regularly speculated about her chemistry with the leading men she worked with. Goldie had strong on-screen connections with actors like Warren Beatty, Peter Sellers, and Chevy Chase. While some of these rumors may have been exaggerated, others were believed to be based in truth, especially during a time when film sets were known for blending personal and professional lives. The 1970s and early 1980s were also a wild time for Hollywood in general. Celebrities were known for throwing big parties, experimenting with alternative lifestyles, and ignoring traditional rules around relationships. Goldie's name often came up in connection with this scene. Tabloids reported stories of nudist retreats, spiritual getaways, and open relationships. She was sometimes described as someone who didn't believe in monogamy and who enjoyed the idea of free love. Whether or not all of these stories were true, they added to the public image of Goldie as a woman who did things her own way. Enter Kurt Russell. By the early 1980s, Goldie Hawn had been through serious highs and lows, big movie success, failed relationships, and raising 2 children mostly on her own. Just when it seemed like she might not find lasting love, something unexpected happened. She reconnected with an old friend from her early acting days, Kurt Russell. And what started as a working relationship soon became the most important love story of her life. Goldie and Kurt first met all the way back in 1968 while filming the Disney musical The One and Only Genuine Original Family Band. At the time, Goldie was just starting out in Hollywood, and Kurt was a teenage actor known mostly for Disney roles. They got along well, but there was nothing romantic between them. Goldie was 21 and Kurt was only 16. They both moved on with their lives, had careers and families, and didn't cross paths again for many years. Then, in 1983, fate brought them back together. They were cast as co-stars in the romantic drama Swing Shift. This time, things were different. They were older, wiser, and both single. Goldie was already a major star, and Kurt had grown into a respected actor in his own right. During filming, the chemistry between them was obvious, not just on screen, but off-screen too. Goldie later said she was drawn to his honesty, sense of humor, and down-to-earth personality. Kurt said he admired her spirit and strength. The attraction quickly turned into something deeper. Their romance began during the production of Swing Shift and grew quickly from there. Within months, they were living together, and their families were starting to blend. What made their relationship different from others in Goldie's past was how natural it felt. There was no rush, no pressure to make a big announcement. They simply liked being together, and that was enough. One of the most talked about parts of their relationship is that they never got married. Despite being together for over 40 years, Goldie and Kurt have always made it clear that marriage wasn't necessary for them. They've said in interviews that they didn't want to feel locked in or pressured by social expectations. For them, commitment was about choice, not a legal contract. And that choice, to stay together every day without being forced to, became one of the secrets to their long-lasting relationship. Goldie and Kurt also blended their families beautifully. Goldie's children from her marriage to Bill Hudson, Oliver and Kate, were young when she started dating Kurt. Kurt stepped in as a father figure almost immediately. He didn't try to replace their biological dad, but he provided love, support, and a steady presence in their lives. Over the years, both Oliver and Kate have spoken about how much Kurt means to them. Kate has even referred to him as Dad, saying he was the one who really raised her. Kurt also had a son from a previous marriage, Boston Russell, and Goldie welcomed him into her life as well. Together, they formed a tight family unit, supporting each other through life's challenges. Whether it was birthdays, movie premieres, or family vacations, they showed the world what a modern, blended family could look like. Over the years, Goldie and Kurt have made countless public appearances that reveal their deep bond. Whether it's interviews, red carpet events, or casual moments caught by the press, they always appear happy, comfortable, and totally in sync. Their laughter, affectionate glances, and supportive comments have become part of what fans love most about them. They've also shared bits of their relationship in interviews, often with humor and honesty. Goldie has said that one of the keys to their success is giving each other space and respecting each other's individuality. They don't try to control each other. They support each other's careers, but also allow each other time alone when needed. Humor has also played a big role. Both love to laugh and keep things light even when life gets tough. What makes their love story so inspiring is that it defies the usual Hollywood pattern. They didn't follow the rules. They didn't rush to marry or play the image game. Instead, they built something real, lasting and strong, based on friendship, trust, and genuine love. Patty Hawn's secret pregnancy. Long before Goldie Hawn became a household name, her family faced a private and painful challenge that left a lasting impact. In the early 1960s, her older sister, Patty Hawn, became pregnant as a teenager. It was a time when society was much less accepting of unwed mothers, especially in conservative middle-class families like the Hawns. Patty's pregnancy was seen not just as a personal matter, but as a social crisis. The Hawn family made a quick and strict decision: keep the pregnancy a secret. They were concerned about their reputation and feared judgment from their community. There was no room for open discussion, support groups, or public acceptance. Back then, teen pregnancies were often hidden, and families went to great lengths to protect their image. Patty was sent away to a home for unwed mothers in Texas, far from her home in Washington, D.C. This kind of institution was common at the time. Girls were expected to disappear quietly, give birth, and return as if nothing had happened. While living at the home, Patty used a false name and had little to no contact with the outside world. She was isolated, surrounded by other girls in similar situations, and kept away from friends and most family members. The experience was emotionally draining. She was just a teenager herself, scared, ashamed, and unsure of what the future would hold. Even though the situation was kept secret, one person knew everything and stood by her: Goldie. Goldie Hawn was only a teenager too, just a few years younger than Patty. Even though she was young, she understood the seriousness of what her sister was going through. Goldie could have ignored it or been told to stay out of it, but instead, she chose to quietly support Patty in every way she could. While their parents insisted on silence, Goldie stayed in touch with her sister through secret letters and quiet phone calls. These small gestures gave Patty strength. Goldie never judged her, never questioned her choices. She offered kindness and connection during a time when Patty felt alone and hidden from the world. When the time came for Patty to give birth, she wasn't even allowed to see her newborn son. It was a closed adoption, which meant she had no legal rights or access to any information about the baby's future. The baby was taken immediately, and Patty had no idea where he went or who raised him. She carried that pain for years, quietly. Through it all, Goldie remained a steady source of love and comfort. She didn't try to fix things, but she was present, and that made all the difference. If you found this video interesting, give us a like, share, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next big Hollywood story.